Hello and welcome back to Goswick Lane. We are so glad to have you back. This is part 2 of real estate investing, and we talked about getting in the game on the last one. You got to get in the game. Put me in the game, coach. I'm ready. Are you ready to get in the game? That's what we talked about on part 1. Part 2, we're talking about, well, you're in the game now. What are you going to do with your investment? And you may say, well, what else is there to do? You talked about on the last video, if you're investing. Hey, if you're getting any value from this, hit that subscribe button. My ADD kicked in. Help us reach more people that want to know the things that we're talking about. When you hit subscribe, YouTube says, hey, there are other people out there like this guy or gal that want to know this, and they line up with this one, and so we're going to show it to them. So that helps us a lot, and it helps other people. And we're thankful for how you guys help us. Have you ever heard anybody complain? Like you get home from a long day and you think, oh, I'm so worn out. My mind has been nonstop all day. I've been thinking about this, and this. Oh, I'm just tired. I'm just ready to be done. Vice versa, if somebody comes home and says, I'm so tired. I've been just being grateful all day and thankful. No, that never happens, because people that are thankful and grateful all day in the forefront of their minds, and that's what they're thinking about, and they're looking for ways and they're thinking for ways to be grateful and to be appreciative of other people. They're joyful, aren't they? They're joyful. I'm working on that, guys. I want you to work on that with me. That was your moment. Let's jump back into, well, you got this property, you're in the game, you found the deal, the equity numbers lined up, cash flow numbers seem to work, okay? You ran your cash flow numbers on a long-term rental, LTR, long-term rental. What is a long-term rental? That's a regular rental agreement that you would have a tenant live in your place and make them sign a year lease or a 2-year lease or whatever you want to do. Most terms are 1 year. Okay, that's one option. A second option, let's talk about pros and cons of each. So there's 3 of those I'm gonna go through. What we're talking about is residential only, and I mean residential for a single family or a duplex or a quadplex, 8plex, apartment complex. We're gonna call all of those residential, although the metrics of how they're measured are a little bit different. We're not gonna get into the commercial lease spaces of like restaurants and stuff like that. We don't need to talk about that because I don't know much about it. I'm still learning. Pros and cons of long-term. Pro, consistent. You don't have to worry about it for a year or however long your contract is. Low maintenance, to some degree, depending on the age of the property or if you've rehabbed it before you put a tenant in there. The con is that typically low cash flow, $200 to $600 a month on one property. 600 would be pretty dang good. I'd take that all day on a single family resident. Second option, short-term rental. This is becoming a lot more popular. This is what we mainly do. We don't have many long-term rentals. We mostly have short-term rentals. Oh, first, what is short-term rental? Short-term rental is Airbnb, booking.com, all those things where you can rent your house out like a hotel for 1 night, 2 nights, 7 nights, 20 nights, whatever. Pros and cons. Pros is that it's a higher cash flow typically if you're in a decent market, okay? Or what is cash flow? You should be able to cash flow on a short-term rental. Cash flow is your profits. After all the bills are paid and all the expenses are out, and then all the money comes in, what do you have left? You should be able to cash flow $500 to $1,500 a month with a good short-term rental. And the reason you cash flow more is because it is more work, so you need to know this. If you would have jumped in this short-term rental game 2 years ago, it was easy to make money and you didn't have to try super hard to do it. But now you better be on your game if you want to have good cash flow in a short-term rental. A game you just jump in and you say, I just want to see. You can with 1 or 2 properties if you're the one managing the communication and doing the cleaning yourself. You can really stay on top of those, but you have to provide an experience for your guests. They got you with 5-star reviews. If it ain't 5 stars, it's nothing. If you want to test it out with 1 property. Figure out your systems and your processes and see if you can cash flow. If you're not making at least double the cash flow of what you can get on a long-term rental, I'd say don't do it. Third option is midterm rentals. This is a really new one, and you can do more than just these 3 things, but I'm just giving you rentals. Midterm rentals, there's a newer website that's out there. It's called Furnished Finder, and midterm rentals are you furnish the property out. Oh, that's a con of the short-term rentals is that you're gonna have to spend $5 to $10 grand to furnish the property out. Same thing with midterm. Midterm's in the middle of long-term and short-term. You don't have a bunch of turnovers. With short-term rentals, every time somebody checks out, you gotta clean it, you gotta turn it over. With midterm rentals, you're gonna furnish it still. Most people they have to rent on there for at least 30 days. And for a property that might gross about let's say $3,500 to $5,000 a month on Airbnb, short-term renting, you can probably get about 3,500. I'm spitballing, okay? And these are generalized numbers. They're not exact. So on a furnished finder, you can get about $3,500 a month. Well, if your cash flow off that 35 is 1,000 and you're only having one turnover every month, 2 months or 3 months, sometimes 4 months, that's a pretty good deal. So those are your three options. Long-term rental, the easiest, low cash flow. Short-term rental, the hardest, higher cash flow. And midterm rental, in the middle, cash flow. Sometimes though, we have a property right now that we've been grossing about $3,000 to $3,300 a month for. And this is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. We expected it to do more than that. We've had 1 or 2 months that were really good at like 36 to 3,800. If it's grossing on a low month, 25, and on a high month, 3,500. We still have profit there at this property, but we expected it to be more for this 3-bedroom, 2-bath that we totally renovated. It's super cute. We'll put it in the description. So what we're thinking about doing with this one is throwing it on Furnish Finder and see if we can get some long-term rental or some midterm rentals. Okay, that was 3 ways for your investment once you get in the game. Thanks for being here. Continue to join us. Leave in the comments, what are you gonna do with your next investment property? Are you gonna short-term it? Are you gonna long-term it? Are you gonna midterm it? Or are you gonna do a mix? You could do a midterm and short-term mix. We'd love to hear from you, for real. I love deals, man. Tell me about them. Okay, remember, love God, love others, and let your work reflect that. We'll catch you on the next one.